You did. Then what happens?
Who knows?
We don't know. But it's always fun to push buttons, right?
Yeah, I get my other screen up here.
Good. 2 screens are good. I have lights on.
You got lights. I'm trying to get camera. And it says we're live.
Are we?
Well, I'm going to say we are. Even though Sammy doesn't have it up on his computer yet. I got notification. I bet we're live. Let's go for it. Let's assume that we're live. All right, Here we go. Live from Houston, Texas is Ginger Crumb Monday, which is supposed to be Cookie Crumb Monday. You know, that's why it says it wrong. I wrote down Cookie Crumb in the name, but it says Ginger Crumb on that. Now I know the problem.
Because
I didn't do it right. I'd fire me. Hey, Ginger, you out there?
I am. Hi, everybody. If you just stumbled across our channel, then what we're going to be doing today is painting a painting that was originally done in the late 1800s by Vincent van Gogh. It's one of my favorites, and we want to give a shout out to John Little. He's the voice you heard on the moderator and welcoming everyone to our channel. And John Little is the other half of GingerCookLive.gallery, and he will be relaying your questions to me. You'll be able to hear his voice, and sometimes he and I have a good time talking back and forth, and we just enjoy each other's company and the show, and hope you do too. And want to say hi to Wendy. If she's did Wendy make it tonight?
Oh, let's see who's out here. I didn't get all that.
We haven't got that far out, but Wendy's usually one of our moderators, and so is
Kim Sim's there, and Sandra's there.
Sandra and Kimson.
Yeah.
Well, so hi, you guys. I want to just as those guys are moderators, you know, they're volunteers, and what they do is they keep the trolls from spoiling your fun chats, because we get a big group going sometimes. Never know how many people will show up tonight, and people get to talking about things, and they just don't appreciate other people coming in and saying unkind things. So, you know, either about their chat or other stuff. So your moderators not only relay your questions to me, which we would like you to put in big caps, not to say we'll all see them, but someone might see them, and also they help answer questions when they can. So that's kind of what we're doing tonight. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, occasionally we get a comment saying, John, please help. I'm subscribed to your channel, but I don't get a notification on my phone. Listen, you guys, you have to do a special app for your phones, a YouTube app, to get the notifications. It just doesn't, like manna, fall out of the sky. You know, I mean, it should. It's just, I get so tired of these apps for this and apps for that, but apparently this is what must be done. And you know, it's really
the world of apps.
Well, the thing of this is that it's never enough to do an app. Then they want your password. And who can remember these things? Everybody's got like 6,000 passwords by this point, and then you forget. So then they say, well, give us another one. And then you're trying to think of a new one. And then you're like,
gosh. Special requirements. You have to have a special
And then it wants a pound sign and a number. And then you're just, it gets to be a lot, doesn't it? So I understand where you're going, apps, who needs apps? But anyway, and if you happen to be just a regular subscriber to our channel and you're still not getting notices, that's because there's this stupid little bell underneath the, I mean, I'm sorry, it's dumb. There's a little bell underneath the, let me tell you what I really think about it. Underneath the subscribes, it's not enough that you subscribed. You have to have a bell. You have to push the bell to let YouTube know that you would like to be reminded. Wow.
That's so silly. If I subscribed, you think I'd want to do it?
Well, you'd think you'd want to know. So, but on the other hand, if I just threw up something, like a video, like we did tonight, a little quick video, but we didn't do it live, then if you were a subscriber, you might have seen that. Weird. All right. So that being said, if John would be so kind as to put
No.
No?
I understand 5 out of 4 people are having trouble with fractions. What do you know about that?
That's my new shirt. Don't you love it? Just
I think it's appropriate.
I think that I found this on Woot too. That's one of my Woot shirts, and I think that's really fun. If anybody wants to know what it says, we think that was fun. All right, so
I love it.
Van Gogh's. What I loved about this, and I copied several different pictures, but I love the sort of the darker blue. Can you see here? Here's the darker, almost ultramarine blue here. See, all around the edges, and we get into the turquoise in the center. Do you see that? See how the edges are kind of darker? Can you everybody see that? So what we're going to use is a 9 by 12 canvas, because I want to make it a little bit bigger. And the reason I'm doing that instead of 8 by 10 is that the detail on this is kind of little, and it's easier to do it bigger. Okay, so we want to make it easier for you. So we're going to take our palette is purple, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, burnt umber, which I still have to put out, cad red medium, white, and then I've got that unbleached titanium. If you don't have that, just you can add a little bit of burnt umber to your white. It's just easier to, and a little yellow oxide. It's just easier to have it all mixed. Sometimes we get a little lazy, you know. And we may show you what to do with black. Normally we don't use black, but the thing of it is that he did. Here's the deal, he did. So sometimes when you're painting the old masters, because he used it, sometimes we have to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it, you know, so I mean, we've got a lot of different, you know, Van Gogh pictures on our own website, gingercooklive.gallery. We have so many lessons, but basically, I love his style. I think you guys do too. And let's start with. So do I want this palette knife? Let's try this one. I'm going to start with the blue. Like that, put some up here. That's ultramarine blue, and I'm going to grab some white and do that. I think I like the word grab, don't you? Now that's too red. That's ultramarine blue red shade. It's not ultramarine blue green shade. So I'm going to add some phthalo to it because that's phthalo blue green shade. And I'm going to make this, I usually between these two blues can make most of the blues I want. So here's this, this sort of a combination of these two blues, ultramarine and phthalo, mixed together like that. And that is, see how I'm kind of pulling it, I scrape and squish. People said the other day, someone wrote me and said, how do you keep your paint from drawing out? I put enough out on my palette, and I have some hot lights, so I put enough out on my palette. And the other thing is that when you're done, mount it back up. And if you're still having trouble, if you're living in one of those climates, and I understand Australia's getting real hot this time of year, take a paper towel like this, fold it up a bunch of times, more than I did, about 5 accordion folds. Get this wet, wring it out, and lay this around your palette like this. And then when you put your paint out on this damp paper towel, then keep it mixing in the middle, all right? If that doesn't work, they make something called a stay wet palette that you can buy. I don't like them myself because it stays wet everywhere, and I like a little thicker paint, but that will work too. And because that stay wet palette basically looks like a brownie tin, plastic brownie thing. And then it's got a special palette with a sponge underneath it and special paper that kind of keeps your paints from drying out. So those are some things, and they've had those around for years, and that's what I would recommend. All right, so there's this color. Now if I want a little bit of a turquoise, I'm going to add a little bit of green to that, or yellow to that, and a little bit of white. And I want you to see my turquoise color. See there? It's starting to get turquoise, and then I'm going to come over here with some phthalo blue and a little bit of yellow and white. And I want you to see there's more of a turquoise color. See how turquoisey that got? A little bit more turquoisey. See, I've got these 3 blues, a little bit more white to that. I'm going to use up all this white and a little tiny bit of that buff. There we go. Now there you see I've got the going from the dark to the light turquoisey color. See that? Dark to light. All right, so that's what we've got here. Now we're going to take, here's our canvas. I'm going to just take a brush like this. This is a number 12. I think it's an 8 ruby satin silver. I could have used a 12. Here's a 12. That's a filbert. That's a little bigger. Might use a bigger one, only because it's easier. It covers canvas more. I'm going to wet it. This is a filbert. Filberts are kind of more rounded. And I'm going to start with the dark color up here like that. See, I'm going to go right up into our corner here, like this. Okay, and I probably don't know if I mixed all that much paint.
What's the name of this lesson again?
This is Van Gogh's Almond Flowers.
Almond Flowers.
Almond Flowers, in case you're looking for that on the internet to see the colors, you see the picture of it. Now I'm going to take some of this turquoisey color, kind of put it in here, and then use the side of my brush like this, just kind of blend that out, and then going into the turquoise in the middle, like this, go more into the light color like that. So using just the side of the brush. This is pretty easy. We're keeping he did a lot of little brush strokes to get this. You know, I mean, he probably did an underpainting and a lot of little brush strokes. We're not going to fool with that tonight, but we could have. Now I'm going to put more of the phthalo blue in it. I want a little bit darker around the edges like that. Using the side of my brush, making little circles. Okay, and you want this all blended out so that you barely see it's all gradated like a sky. Well, it is a sky, but you want to make sure it's gradated so you don't have like a line like that. You want to, if you have to wipe the brush, use the side of it and just barely, almost like you're erasing the line, barely touch that like that. Here we go. Let's just.
It's a 9 by 12 canvas tonight for those
9
that
by
are
12. We're doing a 9 by 12. Okay. All right. Now you see I've got a little bit lighter in the middle. Now here's what you do. Once you've done that, then use the leftover paint that's on your brush. There's so much paint on a brush like this that you don't even have to get more paint. Everybody wants to do the sides first. Don't do that. Clean your brush on the sides because otherwise you're just throwing that down the drain. You know what I mean? You're either giving it, you know, the sewer system or you're putting it on your canvas. So this is what you do with how you kind of clean your brush. Just a little tip there. Okay, I'd like this a little bit lighter in the middle. I'm going to add a little bit more of this buff titanium with that. And I'm going to come in the middle here and I'm just going to a little bit probably buff titanium right here like that.
I think that's going to become a new standard for us, isn't it?
Well, I like this color for this, right? And that's almost the color of the almond flowers. And you see I'm kind of using the side of the brush and just making it lighter. Now I'm going to wipe the brush, barely touch it.
Amber's asking, is that phthalo blue? It looks like ultramarine.
Well, it was...
it's a little bit of both.
It was both. It was a combination of ultramarine blue and phthalo and white, okay? And then we went into we made a turquoise blue using phthalo blue, yellow, and white. And then we added a little bit of the buff or unbleached titanium. Either one would work.
Corey would like to ask, what does Ginger think of cheap canvases from Michaels?
You know, it's interesting about that. I was painting one the other day, and I looked down and it had a hole in it.
Yeah. And
I missed it. So at that point, I wasn't thinking much of, you know, you can imagine what I was thinking. I don't even have to tell you what I was thinking. You can imagine, what about that? Well, you know what? They're good for practice. They're good for practice. And, you know, we go through a lot of canvas, and that's what I can afford to buy easily. If one of the big canvas companies was giving me canvases that were nicer, I'd use those. But since nobody's giving me canvas, I guess I'm using the less expensive ones at Michael. When they put them on sale, they're really inexpensive. Okay? There you go. So you see how I'm just kind of using the side of my brush here and kind of making this all out of focus. All right.
You do want to remember to sand them and stretch them, though.
Yeah, right. you want to sand them and you want to make sure you do that. Now look, I've got enough. Even rinsing my brush, look how much I just put that brush in water, and look how much paint still left in it. Look at that. Are you just amazed?
Those rubies hold forever.
Yeah, these ruby satin silvers. So people always ask, why do you buy a good brush? Because they hold a lot of paint. They hold a lot of paint, and that's just there's differences in brushes, huge differences in the quality of brushes, in the filaments that hold the paint, and there's a lot of research done on that. Okay, let me just tap that in a little bit now.
Why unbleached titanium and not titanium white?
Excuse me, what?
Why unbleached titanium and not titanium white?
Well, because it has a little bit of, you know, to make a turquoise, you put a little yellow and white and phthalo blue, but there's a little bit of yellow in the unbleached titanium.
Gives it a little warm glow.
So it kind of warms it up a bit. I'm just going to kind of push some of this in here like that. Just tap it down now.
Renette would like to know, how many times can you paint over a canvas?
Oh, a bunch of times. Bunch of times. You can use them as practice. It's forever. Okay until you find one that you're just mad for. You know, why not, right? So, all right. So that's our underpainting. Now what we're going to do is...
that's pretty.
We're just going to go ahead and dry it because it's light in the middle, okay? And when I do that, and I want to just mention, if you like Van Gogh's stuff, we have a really neat one, and this is, you can get as an individual download lesson. This is his cornflowers and poppies, and I love this one. And there was even paint on his table, which would be like my table, so I had a real affinity to this one. That's on our website, gingercooklive.gallery. That's a really cool one if you're into painting flowers. And then I'm drawing this. I want to mention, too, we did this on YouTube last week, and I was surprised. It doesn't have a lot of views. This is a Monet another floral one with the apple blossoms, and the whole canvas was painted red first, similar to how we did the wagon, the little red wagon, and yet the trees were put on here. If you haven't tried this, this was really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this now. Can I answer any questions? And maybe you'd like to start a, I don't see my die anywhere here, John.
Uh-oh. Sammy was playing with it earlier.
Well, you cleaned up.
Talk to the bear. You don't see it?
I don't see it.
Well, we'll have to look for that in a second.
We'll have to look for that in a second. Well, I'm going to dry this. In the meantime, I'm just going to make up a number, right?
No, you're not going to make up a number because you know what they are. That'll never work. You dry, I'll find it.
Okay.
All right, she's off and drying a little bit. Hey, I've got some artwork to show you guys from some of our members on the classes and also in YouTube. Monique came up with this rock, what do you call this guy? The rock hopper penguin. That's one of the back to basics on our lessons. Really good to learn how to use the blending and things like that. You learn some of the techniques. That looks like a mess up there. I'll take a second. Let's see. We'll come back to that one. Oh, Sandy. I think we might have shown this one already, but Sandy did the garden gate that I just finished yesterday, and she did it without us finishing it. And this is what she came up with. You know, she came up with her own design and everything, and that's what she did with it. Put an iron gate into it, and added steps and everything. It's really kind of an interesting take on that. It's always good to try different things. Tina M has brought us the balcony flowers, and look at the job she did with this. Did like a weathered stucco wall, added the bricks to it. That is one nice looking piece there.
Yeah, that was 16 by 22. Isn't that pretty? And she did the real stucco. We've got videos on our YouTube channel. Am I on? Yeah, still?
Yeah, your mic's up.
And we have YouTube, videos on how to do the stucco and the brick. And isn't that pretty? I think that those really came out nice, and she got the highlights really well on the flower. So, there's a lot you can learn just on YouTube. But if you really want to get the skinny, come over to our channel, or rather to our webpage, gingercooklive.gallery, because I would tell you that we have over 295 lessons on from beginner basic 101 painting acrylics to advanced stuff, and it can get really fun. All right, this is kind of tacky a couple places, but probably dry enough for what we want to do. And John's looking for the die. I think it rolled on the floor.
No, it looked like it.
So he's kind of looking. When I look at Van Goghs, I want you to just look at this for a second. If we come along here like this, we've got basically three main branches. We've got this one that's coming up this way, kind of to this corner like that. There's one, which is our biggest one, and then we've got one that's kind of coming off to our right a little bit, like that. And actually it's kind of, well, there's two here, but it's very confusing. And there's two, but they kind of branch off and do that. And then we have one coming from the side that's connected. All right, so it's a very interesting picture pattern that he's got going here. Oh, he found the dice. Good for you, John. I'm going to roll some dice while we're talking about stuff. Here's number 4. Is if you're wondering what's the dice for, we always play art trivia on our live shows, and you guys, it's called Stump the Artist, and you guys try to answer the questions, and it's from a 600 question trivia game we found about art stuff, art related stuff. And so it's kind of fun.
Number 4 is a wear category.
And this is number 4 is the wear category. And while John's getting that, I want to talk to you about trees. So John, go ahead and find the question, and I'm going to get my chalk out here.
I got a question.
Okay, what is our question, John?
My question is, of what nationality was Paul Klee? K-L-E-E?
Klee?
Now you say Klee? I'd say Klee.
Okay.
American, German, or Brazilian?
Klee. Okay, so did they give it a time of when he lived, Paul Klee?
No, I'm sorry, they did not.
Huh. Well, I've never heard of him, so who knows?
Of what nationality was Paul Klee? American, German.
What nationality was John Brown? I don't know. I don't know John Brown personally, so how would I know?
Well, I think these are things you need to learn.
Well, apparently we need to learn it. All right, so while you guys we're doing the do 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 and that kind of stuff. I want you to think about that kind of. Have you ever, you know, the Viennese waltz? Am I saying that right? It's Viennese waltz. Do 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 do. Now think about that when you're drawing a twig. Do 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 do. See? Not this. Okay.
I'll give you a clue that he was born in 1879 and died in 1940. Kathleen saying German, Peggy saying German, LeBlanc is saying American, Deborah saying, boy, these were flying by, people. You guys are really participating tonight. Jill's German, Cheryl's German, Clee was German according to Carolyn, Joanne says American, Cece says German. What does Ginger say?
Well, you know, Ginger's clueless, but I would say this, that it can't be, what was the third choice, Italian or Brazilian? It doesn't sound like a Brazilian name to me.
No, it
so
doesn't.
It's got to be one of the others. And he could be American in the sense that Americans have all kinds of last names because they come from somewhere else. They come from somewhere else. So I don't know. So I would just be guessing. I'll say German too.
German is the correct answer. Give yourself a pat on the back for everybody that gets German.
Thank you, because I know a lot of the American artists. I guess maybe that would be helpful. Do you see what I'm talking about how branches they go do 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 do. All right, think about that instead of yeah. Okay. That's what I want you to think about. Think about that. So we're going to start about say 4 fingers over. Put a little mark.
Which is approximately 2 inches.
Yeah, put my mark, and then we're going to just come on down here, and I'm going to put in this lower branch. And it's about as wide as my chalk. It's not real wide. You know, okay, and I'm going to, and it sort of, what's interesting is he sort of has it kind of like somebody pruned it right there. Kind of stops right there, and then there's another little, kind of a funny little, it just stops here like this, some sort of little wiggly thing, okay? And are you scooting down to where I don't think anybody can see me, John. You want to be on the, you're not down on my canvas.
What's going on here?
I give up. What's going on?
So you did that whole chalk thing and nobody saw it.
Nobody saw it, so I'll do it again. Here, down here like this, and then up here like this, doop, 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 right? So that's kind of this one, all right? And then it's got a little, I'm going to put a mark up here. It's got some sort of little branch here. It doesn't have to be exact, you guys, but you do want to keep the little crookedy stuff going, okay? So here's this little branch coming this way, okay? And then we're going to start up here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to start backwards. I've got these little crooked branches that are kind of coming around down here and then cross over this way. So here's a tree that's doing this, and he's got some side branches off from it like that. Okay, it's interesting, they're all off on that side, and then there's one up on this side, kind of coming over here. And we're just going to do some main ones, and then we'll add some stuff, okay? And I'm going to simplify it by just saying we've got another one coming up here like that, and maybe something coming down over here like this. Okay, so we're going to just say there's that, and then over here about say 3 fingers down, we've got a branch that is very crookedy, but it comes about this far. I don't have to get it exactly like his, but I do have to make it kind of like crooked. I guess that would be, that's what I want you to think about, crooked branches, okay? And then if you've got a branch here, you don't put one off of it, you skip down a level and come here like this, and this all joins in here. We've got something up here that's coming this way and connecting to this main tree here like this. I'm just going to draw this on, and some little side ones coming off of it. And again, they're not noodles, they're very tiny little side ones, all right? And can we fill in some more branches? Maybe we've got one coming up that way. And then this one, oh my gosh, it goes clear up here like that, and then kind of forks this way down here. It's going to connect. This is coming this way. And it gets, at this point, it gets a little brambly. So, I mean, do we have to put in every branch he did? No, I think we can get the effect of this painting without having every branch he did, but you want this main one. In fact, I would say let's make this main one a little thicker. We can, when we paint it in, let's get these main branches here a little thicker as they go up, so that, you know, this is one, these two are going to be our main branches, all right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get out some black paint. We're going to try something a little different. You'll notice in his, if you can zoom in real quick for me, can you? Can you see that his is totally outlined on both sides? Do you see it, how it's outlined?
Yep.
Do you see how the whole thing's outlined? Now, we're not going to outline it, but I'm going to show you how to get that effect without outlining. So we're going to take some black, and normally we don't use it, but we're going to take a little black, and I think I'll mix a little bit of that black with some purple. Okay, and let's see, I'll just find a little brush here. There's a little ruby satin silver brush, and I'm going to mist my paint. This is where I'm going to just give everything a nice mist. And a little bit of puddle water here like that, a little bit of black. All right, a little bit of black and purple. I think that's what I want, okay? Now, I'm going to put this where I can see it. Now, we're going to start here with the main tree. Now, here's the deal. Get it even here, do it sort of crooked. Get it a little bit, I guess what I would tell you is that make sure that you've got it nice and crooked. Don't, if you're going to have it fat there, then it's got to be fat coming down there. Now, this is our main one, so we're just going to paint this in with some thought, right? And don't worry about your chalk. The thing about the chalk is it will erase. So you want to do less worried about the chalk and more worried about getting the branch to have little bits of odd things, kind of, I don't know, what would you call that? I'm trying to think of this kind of nubbiness on the main branch. That's what made it so pretty. Okay?
The little knots of it.
Little knots of it. So then we're going to come over here like this. This one is behind here like this.
Pam is asking, what kind of black are you using?
I'm just using black. This is just Mars black, I guess.
Mars black.
Mars black. It's what I happen to have,
Mars
right?
Was red.
I don't happen to have, and I put a little purple in it. I don't happen to have a lot of black paint lying around. This is about 20 years old. That's how often I use black. But that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and see how, boy, it does. I will say it does. This is, people wonder what this is Utrecht paint. This is another one of those Utrecht paints I had from years ago. Yeah. My gosh. I gotta tell you that it's really flowing nicely. I kind of gambled on this, getting out this old paint, but you know what? That's all right. It's working. Okay.
But yeah, you couldn't leave it black, could you? You had to add purple to it.
I had to add purple to it because you know me. I had to add purple to it.
So when people say Ginger's using black, well, is she? I don't know.
All right, now look, I'm gonna kind of weave this back and forth here, and the branch gets thinner as it goes out like this. Okay, and this is the fun part. This is where the sock folders do well with something like this because it's very
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Because you just have to remember to just keep adding these little tiny branches, and you remember I'm using just the knife blade of my brush, like that. And let's see, when it come out this way, say here's our tree coming up like this. It's very crooked. I think that's what you want. If you can figure out how to keep making it crooked, that would be the deal. You just kind of wiggle around. If your arm's shaking a little bit, so much the better. Okay, like that. So you see we're saying that, okay, so this branch is coming this way. Now here's the deal. You can't have this branch be fatter than the main trunk of the tree. So if for some reason you accidentally got this branch too fat, then you've got to fatten up the rest of this. So that's one of the kind of things you got to keep in mind with when you're painting tree branches.
Christopher would like to know, will the chalk interfere with the paint adhering to the underpainting?
No. It's going to dissolve the chalk and
they become one.
Come one. We've never had that happen. But the chalk is not as nice is painting over with, say, a pencil, charcoal pencil, even a watercolor pencil, because it's like picking up sand when you're doing chalk.
With all my years of experience of 5 paintings, I prefer the pencil. The chalk just bugs me. That's the sock folder in me.
Well, it bugs everybody, but it's easy to have.
It is.
It's something you have on hand, so we're just going to do that. All right, and then I'm going to say that came in here like this.
It's almost looking like a Halloween picture.
Yeah, it almost looks like a Halloween picture. Exactly. Let's see. Let's just come up here like that. Here's the edge of this. Okay. Like that. Okay. All right. So that's pretty good. Let's see. What do we got going here? All right. So we're going to...
Rhonda would like to know, how could Van Gogh possibly carry around wet canvases and paints when he was doing plein air and not mess up his pieces?
Well, you know, it's hard to know how he did it, but he sure did. You know, he never thought he was a good artist. Did you know that? Do you guys know how, I say this, if you ever watch my video on Starry Night, I give you a whole history on him. Let's talk a little bit about him, because he's interesting. He never particularly thought he was very good at this. And he only sold 1 painting in his lifetime. But
Really?
his paintings now are the most expensive in the world. They go for the most money. But at the time, he really never... He was not a success, you guys. He just wasn't. He was friends with the Impressionists. In fact, this guy here that painted this one, this guy from Brussels that painted this, we invited Van Gogh to Brussels to go to a big fancy art show. Knew him, this man. I'm trying to think what his name was. But this is the lesson for our members this week, and I have a whole history of this artist whose name I've totally forgotten at this point.
Russell Berg, something like that.
Yeah, Brusselberg or something. And anyway, so he was a friend of Van Gogh's, and you know, he knew the other people, and they were all doing much better than him. And you know, do you know the interesting thing about how he ended up being becoming an artist? His uncle had a salon in Paris where he sold artwork to very rich clients. And when Vincent van Gogh got out of school, whatever the equivalent to high school or whatever it was people did back then, he and his brother both went to Paris, and they went to Belgium. They went to go work for his uncle. Now, what you have to appreciate, though, is that Vincent's father was a Protestant minister. Okay? And so he was raised with very strict moral standards, as probably most kids that are whose dad is a minister. If you know anybody like that, they're pretty much you know, they've got very strong moral values. So Vincent had a real hard time with his uncle, because apparently his uncle, it didn't quite sink in quite the same way with his uncle as I'm going to make this a little thicker here, as it had with his father. So his uncle was lying to the clients, and Vincent refused to lie to them. He just wouldn't do it. He said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it." And his uncle was very upset with him, because he, you know, kind of like well, never mind, but you know, other businesses where people are in sales, sometimes the truth isn't always told, right? And if you're not willing to fabricate a little bit, they don't want you. So anyway, look how simple this is. Now, you see how we're doing it? Now I'm going to go back over and kind of touch up some of these branches like this. So anyway, so basically he got fired. Finally, he went beyond not just telling him, not lying, but he told them the truth. Which his uncle, you know, it's bad enough he kept silent, but then he started to volunteer information, and nobody wanted that, okay? So poor Vincent got fired, and so they thought, well, you know, maybe your calling is, your calling surely must be to be a minister then, because I'm going to make this a little thicker too, so just kind of exaggerate some of this. All right, minister then, because you have such strong feelings about what's right and wrong. So they sent him, his parents sent him to seminary school to become a Protestant minister. And now, you'd think that would have worked out well, wouldn't you? I mean, you would have thought so. Got a little branch coming over here like that, so we're talking to you. Well, the problem is, he got down there and they sent him to sort of this poor section of town, and he couldn't stand it. People were starving. I mean, he was raised middle class, and people were starving and not doing well, and he was taking his entire salary and feeding the poor and getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And then finally his claim to fame was he felt real sorry for this lady. She was a lady prostitute, and she had a kid, so he invited her to come live with him. And that just did it for the congregation. You know what I mean? Nobody was okay with that. And he, brought her home to Mother, and nobody was okay with that, And then, and finally she left him because apparently the story was that he was so poor she didn't think he could take care of her. But, anyway, that was his deal. So then his brother felt sorry for him because he didn't make it. He had to do something for a living. He'd shown some talent drawing when he was younger. So his brother actually was the one. They became partners. His brother sent him to art school, and he actually went to art school and he studied art. And he was a very, very good draftsman. He could really draw well. If you look at his early stuff, you see it's all kind of, and his early stuff was very influenced by the plight of the factory worker and the conditions that people lived in. I'm going to dry this a little bit, John. And if you have any other questions we want to answer, I'm going to dry this a little bit.
Well, you have one that, where'd it go?
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, here. Gail wants to know, Ginger, I found some linen I had for crew work. Can I use it for canvas? Thinking of giving it a try.
Well, the problem with linen is that you've still got to gesso it with something. You can't just paint on linen. You're going to have to stretch it and gesso it. And I don't know how tight the weave is. Just because it says linen doesn't mean diddly squat.
Doesn't mean it's necessarily a tight weave.
Doesn't mean anything. I mean, linen, it's such a vague thing, Like, for instance, cotton, your canvas is made out of cotton duck, which is what they make sailcloth out of. But they're just like sheets. There's thread counts, okay? So the linen that they put on canvas is a fine linen. I just don't think it would be worth your trouble. Though, that being said, at some point I'll paint on this t-shirt. So,
The one you've got currently on?
The one I've got currently on. When I get enough paint on it, then I'll start painting on it and put some stuff on it.
Hey, before you do what you're about to do, would you like to do the art review of the horse?
Oh, yeah, I want to do this because, one of the things that we offer at gingercookslive.gallery is personal art coaching. And I want to just say that we had this one artist that submitted a painting, and it was really good. I mean, look at how she got the veins in the horse and, the background and the nose. I mean, this is a really stunningly well done painting. The thing that needed to be changed on it was the ears were a little too tall, and the nose was a little bit wide. And those were the only two changes I suggested she make, because I think overall she did it. So that's where you can say, I told her to shorten the ears. It really was beautiful. Narrow the nose just a touch. And I took off, in my Photoshop, I took a little off the nose and I took a little off the ears to show her kind of what she needed to do, okay? And there's her final piece. Isn't that gorgeous?
Did a good job on that.
She did a really good job. That's a stunning horse head. And, if you can paint horses and do that well, there's people that, they're happy to pay you to paint their horsies.
Just like people like the dogs.
Dogs and horses, yeah. And, people, horses aren't cheap to own, and people that own them probably have enough money to pay you to paint them. So it's a nice thing to know how to do. Anyway, I thought she did a beautiful job on that. So I'm going to just, that's personal art coaching at gingercookslive.gallery. And just got to mention that. All right, so we're going to dry this.
Yep.
You want me to do another trivia thing? Congratulations to our trivia winners, by the way. 3 is what we got while I'm drawing this.
Okay. All right, 3. Number 3 is a good question, is a win. These are always fun. It'd be great if I could read some of these words. I'm going to do a win. Judy, the red wagon, how'd you send it? There we go. Got a good question. I've got a question that's relating kind of to our piece tonight.
Sure.
Took me a while to dig that one up, but Do you know if you got a question from Judy? Just wondering if you got the painting of her red wagon she sent you. From Judy B.
Well, Judy, if you just send it in, it takes me, you know, we had Easter yesterday, so we didn't do any critiques or reviews. So we probably got the question, and just your wagon, haven't had a chance to look at it yet. How's that? So if you send it to us, you should have gotten a reply. You get an automatic reply back from us when you send us your art and you're a member. And we need a few days to look at this stuff, and particularly over the weekend, things pile up. All right, now I want you to show you how I made this green. I took black and I added yellow to it, and I've got this sort of army green, all right? And can you see it right here?
I can now.
And so now what I'm going to do is come on the inside of this like this and just leave the black outline. And see, we're going to put this, you just a tiny little outline here of the black, and you come in here and using a small brush. And, you know, if you lose some of the outline, don't panic. It'll be all right. No one will know. We'll know, but we won't tell. Okay, so so you come in here. Now, look, it's outlined. We do this with several of his pieces where he needs an outline. You paint it a solid color and then put the other colors in the middle, and then it looks like it's all outlined. You've got to admit that's a much easier way to go about it, isn't it? That's kind of clever. You know, that's kind of clever. Now, we've got some other colors to put in here, but we're going to start with this one, all right? Okay, now we're going to come across here like this. Now we're going to just kind of do it around and like kind of curve it around a little bit. Just do it almost like a zebra stripe. Start curving this. Leave a little of that black showing if you can. Otherwise you've got to put it back. So if you can kind of curve it a bit, curve your brush strokes. And you'll notice that every few brush strokes I get more paint. The minute I make a mark on the canvas, like just like that, nothing's happening, I will make more paint. I'll take a little yellow, a little black like that, and I'll make that green color. Just gonna roll it off my brush.
That's a good use of black, isn't it?
Well, it's an interesting, because people just don't think of that. There's this sort of green end here like that, and then we've got this, it's curving around like that, and this is that's curving. Here's the little end like that. Okay, so this is a different way to do something, and you know, not everybody. There's a lot of different ways to reach the same goal when you're painting, and like we got and on Pinterest, a lot of times you'll see your work up on Pinterest. If you haven't checked my Pinterest board, gingercooklive.gallery, I pinned a lot of stuff up there today. And there was this one artist, I think it was, I don't want to say because I can't remember, but one of our members, and she...
what's it a picture of?
It's the balcony with the... What's the balcony?
Oh, that's Tina. I showed that one.
Yeah, but there was another one.
Oh, I only grabbed Tina's.
Okay, you only grabbed Tina's. This is another one.
Okay.
And it was done very quickly and very fast. She painted along with me. And the thing of it is that, you know, did the brushstrokes look like mine? No, but it was a great picture. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
It doesn't have to look like mine. In fact, that look is hard to do because there's a temptation to want to come back and just, you know, add too much detail. And if you can create something with a few brushstrokes, that's impressive. Now see how I'm getting it a little bit tinier up here.
Now the color she's using right now is the yellow and black.
Yellow and black, and I'm making this sort of split pea soup green is the color I think it is. Split pea soup green. I can't stand split pea soup. Does anybody else like it? I think that's disgusting.
Okay,
that was the stuff we used to get. I'm sorry, we used to get that. People used to eat that when I was a kid. Did you eat it in your house, split pea soup?
I did, and I still enjoy it today.
Oh my gosh, man! One of the things I loved about being a grown-up was I could get rid of all the food that I found that should have been never served in the first place. I never had to see it again. That was just part of the fun of being an adult. So good, this can go, that can go. We can certainly get rid of this. That's done. Done. Tired of this.
Casey would like to know what my favorite artist is, and painter or artist, and your favorite painter or artist is.
Dead or alive? Got to be more specific.
Ooh.
Dead or alive, you guys?
Dead or alive.
Dead or alive. What was the question, by the way? Did anybody? Where was the trivia question?
Oh, well, nobody really cared about it, so I just went on. Okay, here's a trivia question. Could Vincent van Gogh, who we're painting tonight, have used an alarm clock? Yes or no? This is simple, people.
Could Vincent van Gogh have used an alarm clock? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Now, look, see how the green is? Okay, now, if John, if you would be so kind as I want you to zoom in on my picture. Now, can you see that? Now, I'm going to bring this down. All right, just see now. You see now what's happened. Now, let's take a little bit of that buff titanium and add to this white, this green color. See? Now, look, see that? Buff titanium. See the light strokes? Now, I'm going to come here on the top of this. Maybe I'll just get some buff titanium. I really want this lighter here. Okay, so it's right along here like that. See what I'm talking about right there, okay?
Yep.
So we're going to come here like this and add a few just on the top here, a few little of these light strokes like that. Okay, like that. Now, it's interesting.
Kim Sim says no. Melissa says yes. Karen says split pea soup. Marie says yes. Marie says yes. Sylvia says no. Ian says no. Icy says no. Laura says yes. Christopher, yes. It's a split. It's a split pea soup out there.
It is. So then you have to ask the question, when did alarm clocks get invented? You know, I mean, you know, you figure that the Swiss were probably on it right away. Okay.
All right, I can give you that.
Can you tell us when were alarm clocks invented? Because I don't know.
The alarm clock was invented in 1847.
Wow, that early. Now, see, I'm shocked, aren't you?
I was.
I'm shocked. 1847. No kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
Gosh. All right, now you see what I'm doing here? Kind of a little bit lighter here like that. See how we're just sort of... Okay, and you can zoom back out. Now, you get the idea that in a couple of places, we're adding a little tiny bit of this light color on top of the dark color, just in a few little dots here and there, right?
Yep.
Not trying to get too picky. And in here, when we get up to this part, we'll just do a little like okay, here we go here like that. So let me just, I'm just kind of moving my picture around now.
Yeah, I'm going to move out a little bit.
Yeah, so you can zoom out. So you can see now I'm starting to climb up the tree and start adding the little blossoms. And that's just, there's just so much time in to add the blossoms in. And you want to have some little buds doing this. Okay. And on the very ends of these little branches, there's little buds. So they're very simple little kind of almost forget-me-not type of flowers. Very simple. I mean, there's nothing too complicated about them. You don't have to get too carried away. And just on the ends, you can do a few little buds. Now we're going to come up here and add some bigger ones. Here we go. Okay. Because when I say bigger, they're clumped. So it's not that they're really, the flowers are any bigger, that they're just clumped here.
Well, we have 138 people that stuck in there and the feed finally came back.
Oh, thanks you guys.
Now the thing has, flowers are all over the place and everything's going just wonderful.
I'm so sorry. All right, what we're doing, and once you get the idea of the flowers, it's just
a repeat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
When you get ready to do another big one, let me know where you're going to do it, and we'll zoom in again for that.
All right, so let's put one right. Let's put one right here. Okay, and just kind of zoom in. All right.
Yep. Here we go.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
I see how they're slightly bent. Yeah, I have a little curve to them.
They're kind of curved over, and then sometimes you'll just see part of one because they're up on the branch, and then sometimes there's little buds like that are sticking off on the main thing like that, little buds. So when in doubt, just put another flower, particularly if you have a branch you don't like. That's never a bad plan. Now there's a little group of them here. There's a little grip of them. Don't you think that's a, well, what would you say? It's not a grip of flowers. What would it be?
I would call it a cluster.
A cluster, yeah, maybe a cluster would be good. Okay. We were talking, but it's interesting the words for that. So I put 3 there, and then they're kind of on this side of the branch too. Over here, that's kind of a funny looking one. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, stupid looking branch. And then I'll do a few little buds here like that.
This bud's for you.
This bud's for you, yeah, see? Okay. Now, so we come up along here, we do some more flowers. They're not very big. There's maybe 2 or 3 together. Sometimes he's got them together like that. And just kind of all looking up and happy. I think it's interesting that we decide flowers have moods, or happy flowers, or sad flowers. Okay.
I would like to ask this question. I don't know if anybody else. Do these have more than one color in them? Can we see the?
Yeah, we're just right now we're using the buff titanium. They do have more than one color. I can show you, but we got to start with something, right?
Right. I'm just kind of
So
curious where we're ending up.
They do have. If you want to zoom in on my picture.
It's pretty close. Oh, they got all kinds of color in them.
But you got to start with something, right?
So that's basically your underpainting
so
for the flowers.
So basically, we're just putting in some flowers, and then we got to go from there, right?
Okay.
So that's the best we can do with that. All right, and I'm looking here, and I'm going. But you can get the feel of this painting. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like I say, sometimes there's just a few together like this. They're just sort of sticking up. You don't see them sticking down.
So they're happy flowers because they're all
they're
looking
just
up.
all over the place. Okay, you can kind of see it. So let's see. I think I had some here. All up in here. There was just at the ends of these. There were little either flower buds or a flower kind of sticking off the ends of these like that. Now moving over that way. Go left, or I'll move my picture.
Nope, I got you.
All right, now these were kind of lone ducks here. There weren't really any up here. There were just some buds up here like that. He didn't get too carried away with
those. For those people that are coming right back in from, if you haven't been here before, this is an almond tree.
Yeah, Vincent van Gogh's Almond Branches. This is one of his more famous paintings. Now, I have seen this background. This is like a turquoisey background. I've seen this background in red and burgundy, and it is stunning. You wouldn't have to do it in blue. If blue didn't go in your house and you wanted to paint this, you certainly could do it in burgundy. Okay? All right, so we're just going to say up here like this, little buds sticking up. Okay, like there.
Oh, Casey came back. Yeah, I'm sorry, Casey, we didn't answer your question. No, Casey, we need to know if that a living or passed away artist. That's our favorite.
Yeah, we're going to put another one down here like this. I need 3 down here toward the bottom. Okay, let's that's a nice, see, I have a big one here, and then there's another one here like that down here, and then there were some little buds and something here, and here there was a little cluster of these guys down here like this, and sometimes there's something growing after them like that. There you go.
Julie's asking a question. I'm seeing a lot of lighter greens go into the branches. Could the branches be put in with dark green instead of the black?
Sure. You could put the branches in with dark green instead of the black. You can kind of see from his that he did black, right? Can you see his?
Yeah.
He did black, but you could do that, sure. You could do it in dark purple and ultramarine blue, and normally I don't do black, right? So you certainly do that. Now I'm going to
break the rules tonight.
Sure. I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow and a little bit of phthalo blue and make a very, very bright green, okay, like that. Very, very bright green, and add a little bit of buff titanium to it. And we're going to come in here with some, now, look, we're going to add this brighter green in a couple of places. Put a teeny bit of red in it, of cad red medium, teeny bit. Just tone it down, just a hair. We still want it bright, but maybe that was a little too much circus in your face, right? But we want a few little bits of brighter green.
I was wondering that, how that was going to stay.
No, it's not going to stay. But just in a few places, all right? We're just going to, you know, just everything kind of curved around. And you want to make sure that this branch, this front one is curving. That one's in front of that. And it was a very interesting way how we did this. And this bright green wasn't all up there, but there was certainly some of that. Then we can take some yellow oxide and buff titanium, and then he had a little bit of that kind of more of a almost a gold color on some of these branches too. Okay, there was just in here there was a gold color, and then he had some branches coming off of here that kind of, they were like gold. It went like that. Maybe there's a little side branch.
Casey's saying either gold. One, either past or present for your favorite artist.
I'll tell you what, Howard Behrens, who's passed away a few years ago, he was one of my all-time favorite artists. And Kent Wallace is one of my favorite artists, Kent Wallace. And if you haven't gotten Kent Wallace's book, he's got a book. It's well worth buying. Really wonderful book on his paint. I love he's an oil painter, but he loves the colors like I do. Now we're into kind of a little bit lighter color here. Just coming up in here like that. All right, so now let's see, let's back up and take a look at this. Okay, so now we've got to put some color into our flowers, but you see it's coming along pretty good. I mean, I don't have as many branches as he did.
Right.
And he had a few more, but you get the idea of how you'd paint this, yeah? So let's start with taking a little bit of burnt umber and cad red medium. Okay, and a little bit of yellow oxide. Let's try that. What do we got here? Yeah, burnt umber, cad red medium, and yellow oxide. Or rather, cad red medium, burnt umber, and yellow oxide. Here's this sort of pretty color. Let's just put a little center in a couple of these flowers.
Carol's asked a question. I have to go see if I can find it.
We're just going back. Not all the flowers have centers, by the way, please. They don't all have centers. But I'm putting in a center in a couple of them. Just ones that might have centers. Okay, so just put a few in, and that's kind of neat, right? And so I started to tell you about Vincent. So he was not, and let's see, we're going to take a little bit more buff titanium and lighten that up color. Just put some buff titanium in that, lighten that up. Let's put a little green with that. Ooh, that's pretty, sort of a green-brown color. Okay, now I'm going to come back, touch a little bit of these leaves up. Just come around here with a little shading on the leaves. Just one or two petals is all I'm doing. So I'm adding a little color to that. Could have glazed it too. So this is and it's just sort of down in these front ones. Okay.
Carol's question is to you: love your artwork, but want to know what the heck you are using on your skin. Seriously, why are you glowing so much?
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. You think
it's the lighting? Come on.
It's the lighting. Right here and here is some sort of weird glowy powder stuff I found.
Weird glowy
powder stuff.
Is that that one stuff?
It's from the swamp somebody or other. She said that, she's
Swamp Queen.
Swamp Queen on YouTube, and Cinnamon gave me the whole makeup kit for Christmas, and it's just the Swamp Queen girl, and she's got it down. So that's where I got it from Cinnamon. And I found it also, that same kind of stuff. It kind of glows just around your eyes.
No, most people would think it's because you're in love, but I guess that's not the case.
No. That's not it, John. But it's a good try. It's a good thought.
Oh, well.
All right, now I'm taking a little bit of this buff titanium and just kind of lightening up a couple of things here like that. All right, so we've colored these a little bit. Let's take some red and yellow and make a little orange color. Very pale orange, like that. Mostly yellow, right? And let's add a little bit, let's just warm up some of these flowers a bit. Just a couple places. Just a little bit. Not everywhere, not every flower, but just give it a little bit. Orange and turquoise are complements, so if you add a little bit Like even up here on the buds, just come up here and just dab over those buds, and look what happens. I kind of push the buds back on and just give the base of the buds a little bit of kind of an orange color, and that makes that kind of cements them. You can even give a little green color to them too. Kind of cements them into the branch. So you put the white, and you either come back with orange or green at the base of these almost these little buds. So let's see, let me just give myself a little water right here. Okay, so see, wherever I did these little buds, I'm just going to cement them onto the tree with a little bit of either green or orange at the base. So here we go. This is a fairly fun but very simple painting to paint. Okay, I mean, it really is.
The picture in the picture.
Hard. And then we've got to go back here now, and there's, like, for instance, this branch right here. Remember, the center of interest is wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So he made this branch right here very dark next to this flower. So see, this flower kind of got a little bit more attention because he made that branch very dark. And I'm coming around here saying he kind of curved around, made some of these a little darker, and made some little rings up here like this, and he's got some dark coming up from the bottom now like that, almost like zebra stripes. Some dark, and then this is kind of here. So if you almost got to go back at some point and put a few little dark bits in with these little rings that he did around the tree. But if you get some dark right next to these white flowers, they really show up. Those ones right there. And put some darker rings around here like that. Keep curving them around, and they don't go all the way around, they stop halfway. Let me just show you real quick on the chalkboard. So if you're doing a branch like this, okay, like that, you've got the dark is coming up from the bottom like this, like that, and then you may have some dark coming down this way, but they don't necessarily meet. Does that make sense? Like that. So
it kind of goes on both sides.
It's more like, I'm making this bigger so you can see it. It's kind of more like that. And if I show it to you now, zoom in right here. Can you see what I'm talking about? See how this dark doesn't go all the way up, and then sometimes it comes down from the top. Okay, see that? See how it's coming up and under? That's the brush strokes, and then this is just going around like this in a circle, like this in a circle. All right. So if you can get this picture easy enough, I would suggest just print out his picture. Really look at his brush direction when you're doing this. This is not a hard picture to do. Okay. But I strongly suggest that, and then if you need to come back up with some, some dark paint, and touch something up, you can, or add a little tiny branch off somewhere. Like for instance, these flowers here had a little branch, which we're going to put right here. Like this one here, it just came off here like that to this here, like that. This one had these little flowers were somehow connected to this tree right there, like that. Okay, so that's what you want to do. This one was lighter here. I'm just looking now. What you've got to do is look at your lights and darks. This was lighter under here, not that light. Yellow oxide and black will also make it green, but it won't be as good a green. It will be almost a muddy green. It's just cad yellow medium is the only one that in black that's going to give you that kind of army green. Cad yellow medium, but that yellow oxide it'll be too dull. But I'm going to lighten this up under here like this on this bottom one. Okay, and I want to make sure I've got some of this top branch lighter. And depending on where you're printing out the picture, you're going to see different results. And that's I would tell you too, is it just depends where you're printing it out. So, and then at this point, put some little nubs on the tree branch. See how I'm doing little black nubs? Just little nubby things coming off the tree like that in a few places. just pay a little attention to some of the detail on this. You can have a very pretty picture. All right, let's zoom back out and see what I got. So I would say that looks pretty nice, John. Don't you think so?
I think it's darn close.
I would say that one of the things is that I'm noticing here is I don't have enough clusters of flowers. There's like a cluster here. I need more flowers here, and I don't care where I've got a branch. I'm just going to add some flowers up here because I can see that I need them right up here. And I'm going to say up here I need some flowers, and I'll just put a few different sizes ones like that. I'm going to put a few flowers there because I need some. And then in here, do you see like right in here? I feel like I don't have enough flowers here somehow. Maybe we'll just add another flower here like that.
Melissa would like to know, does Ginger have a comeback for unsolicited criticism? They tried to steal the joy of painting.
You know, some of the hardest things is, you know, occasionally people give us thumbs downs. I mean, I can't imagine why when they can just change the channel. What do they care what we do here, right? And, you know, Cinnamon was telling me, my daughter Cinnamon was telling me that YouTube allows the thumbs down as some sort of psychological release for people that are very upset about something, and they can give a thumbs down rather than a nasty comment. So I guess we, you know, that's the thinking behind thumbs down. I think we need something right here on this branch right here. Yeah, we need a flower right here. And, you know, and that could be, but, you know, when people say something that's unkind, you just often wonder what's gone so wrong in your day that trying to hurt me is going to fix it. You ever thought about that? I mean, what has gone so wrong in your life that saying something mean to me is going to make it better? Because really nothing, if something's going wrong, and a lot of times it is, right? I'm going to make this flower a little bigger. That's right. Let's just make that one bigger.
Sandra has got herself in a quandary, as it were.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a huge canvas, a favorite canvas. I spilled some oil splatters on it. Any way I can remove it so I can use it for acrylics?
Like when she says oil splatters, what does that mean, oil splatters?
Maybe she was deep frying, and I don't know.
Like oil, like deep fried food, like oil paint. What?
What kind of oil?
We don't know what kind of oil.
Sandra, what kind of oil? In an hour, no.
We don't know. See, that's the problem. I just don't, I have no idea. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of green. Let's try little green centers on a couple of these. Little orange. Okay. I don't know. I have no idea. The people you have to ask are.
Sandra's saying oil paint.
You know, I don't know. At this point, I know you can't use paint acrylics over oil paint. So
just buy some oil paint.
Yeah, you can't really. Could you take some turpentine and could you scrub it all off? Would it come off? Is it still dry? I mean, these are all questions. You know, that at the time, could you have taken turpentine and taken it off, or just save it for an oil painting, right? Okay,
you couldn't gesso over it again?
No.
That wouldn't block it.
No, wouldn't block it. Well, once it's gesso is kind of a form of acrylic.
Yeah.
So right. So there's our picture, you guys, and I think that I think we did pretty well on that. I mean, I'm going to just show you his. There, you may want to take some time and put in and really look and see. Maybe put in a few more branches up here, but I think we got a lot of it. I mean, I didn't put one that way, and I guess there's a flower coming down here. I guess I could put those in. It's sort of fun. There's some sort of flower hanging down here like this. I mean, he had.
Well, it's one of those things. Do you want to? Are you trying to duplicate it, or you do your rendition?
Well, that's it. You want to do your rendition. You just, you know, you're just sort of getting the feeling of this, and how do you like it? You know, are you getting the? You know, this is maybe I'll turn that into a flower right there. You just come back and you can change it a little bit, but he's got some beauty. I mean, I think that these are great paintings to try and do, and I really like what he did. And I started to tell you, he never felt he could draw. He always used the grid system to draw stuff on. When he did portraits, he did a grid system, which is what everybody does, and that's, you know, nothing wrong with the grid system. That doesn't mean you're a bad drawer. It means that you're precise. And he was very hard on himself, but he was a lovely person and had great character.
Oh, Nancy, my sister said you can use turpentine to remove it, then paint over it. She uses oils, and she's been playing with acrylics now.
Okay, well, see, Nancy would know then. You know, that's it, because I'm not.
She's been painting with oils for hundreds of years.
Okay. So yeah, just take it. Somehow she's suggesting you get it off of there somehow, and then go on. All right. So we want a little bit of a. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? A little bit of that. Ooh, I like that. A little bit of orange on here.
Oh,
part of
yeah.
me wants to put a little color.
I'm
sorry.
Yep.
you know that. Part of me wants to.
I saw that big glob of red sitting there. Boy, that's going to be used.
Some of me want some. It's a little cad red medium, and that just a little, kind of almost a pink tint to come all of these, right, like that. Sorry, I want a little more color here, but that's all right. So there it is, Van Gogh's almond flowers. Gingerized, I guess you could say that's gingerized. But again, this is not a hard painting to do, and you're kind of seeing how we did it. It's not particularly hard, and you want to come back and erase the blue. And what would happen if you got now he put his, I've got to tell you, he put his paints on when he did his, just so you'll know it, one little brush stroke at a time, not the way we did it, kind of like this. See how I'm tapping in here like that? He came back, and I see I've still got some of my background color. He came back. Now look, he made it very dark around here because he wanted these flowers right here to show up. Now see what I'm doing with the brush? I'm coming in this area like this. Now this is kind of important. And right next I want this flower to show up. So guess what I'm doing? I'm putting a little darker color right there. And using my background color like that. And using little tiny brush strokes like this.
And what brush is that?
This is a little number 2 short-handled bright brush.
That's my new favorite one.
I like it a lot. It's very easy to use. You see I'm coming back in here like that, darkening up the canvas. Now, if you really wanted to get fiddly, this is what I consider.
This is really part of your art therapy.
Yeah, this is like art therapy. You just come back down here and do some darker colors back down in here with the little brush strokes. And he's got it all dark. It's darker down at the bottom. And if you didn't like some of your flowers, then you could reshape them. But let's see, can you kind of back out? Can you back out and get the whole picture? I mean, that's if you look very closely at his picture. All right, very closely, it's all little tiny brush strokes.
Yeah, one of those little baby brushes.
And here's some of the lighter color like that. So save your background color. Save enough, make enough of your background color where you can come back and do this. See what I mean?
Kim would like to know, what is the makeup artist you follow on YouTube that's for the senior citizens?
See the senior citizens? I don't have one particular.
Oh, I thought you had that one gal you were doing.
Well, there was, but I can't remember who it is. I'd have to look under likes. I mean, that's how often I look at it. I don't know that I do all that great with it, but it's, I just kind of hang in there with it. Just get the stuff under the eyes, dark shadows under the eyes, and sculpture the cheekbones a little bit, I guess. Cinnamon's a really genius at all this stuff. She's so good at all that makeup stuff.
Didn't she do theater stuff in college?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. She's very good at all that stuff. And I've been wearing makeup for years. I used to laugh, and when she was younger, I'd say I can't go out, and she'd say, why not? And I said, well, I have to get my makeup on before I leave. And she'd say, well, we're just going to the store. And I said, yeah, but I got to think about my public. And I remember her saying, what public? What public are you talking about? This imaginary artist public that I always had, right?
Absolutely.
So, all right, can you guys see kind of what I'm doing here? And I'm just sort of taking the background color that I already did, right?
And you're getting rid of your chalk is what you're doing.
And I'm getting rid of my chalk, because I don't feel like that. I'm getting rid of my chalk, okay? And I'm adding these little brush strokes. But because I already have a pile of this, I don't have to go very far to find it, right? And again, this is his whole painting was done like this, but I think it's easy to come back. And you can go back and you can skinny up a branch. What if you made one that was too fat? You can skinny it up. But I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about here, is that all this was just sort of blended in like that. And it was darker down here, and almost midnight dark down here at the bottom. So he made it all dark down here. And that's easy enough to do at the end too. And one of these, that you didn't see it in this one, but I saw it in this one. Now look at this. Can you see this? Can zoom in on this one? This is one of my favorite ones. Look how turquoisey green it is over here. Do you see that? See these colors?
So this is somebody else's photograph of it?
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing with prints and photographs. And people can manipulate all that in Photoshop, so it's hard to know anymore what's real and what isn't. You know, at this point you're an artist, and so you can have a little fun with it. And the thing of it is that these paintings are so valuable that they can't have a lot of flash colors going off on the picture. All right, you can't have that because you're gonna, every time you take a flash of the oil paint, it's going to fade a little bit. So that's why you can't just go trouncing around a museum happily flashing stuff, you know. Either, and I don't mean I don't mean flashing with the raincoat. I'm talking about using your flash drive. Okay, you can't do that, and because they get upset because it really, I mean, it really does hurt the oil canvases. All right. So if you want to know more about Vincent van Gogh, I've got a lot of stuff about him on that one on the Starry Night picture. If you haven't seen that one's a fun one. Let's see, what do we get when we take a little bit of cad red, medium, and black? We get a little bit of this color, kind of a rust color. I'm going to put a few more of these little dots out here like that. I think this is it. Do we have any more wonderful questions? I wanted to show you some of the stuff. Somebody painted, this was one of the paintings. Can you show this real quick? This is one of the paintings we have on our website. It's called Yellow Tin Cup. And you have the artist that did this one, one of our artists. She changed the flowers, and I really like what she did.
This would be Sissy.
Sissy did that, and I want you to see what Sissy did. We have this Yellow Tin Cup, and see how she did hers with the red flowers. I think that's really good too. She lightened the background a bit so that the cup, you know, the flowers and the cup showed up, and you see how she's got this old grain wood. That was one of the lessons we did. And then somebody, you know, I really thought everybody would like this ballet video, and it's really kind of flopped. I'm kind of sorry about that because I thought this was so fun, but we've gotten a few of them back, and George just got one someone did, and I put it up on Pinterest.
I guess I didn't. I thought I grabbed that one too.
Did you grab that one?
I did.
This was last week.
I'm not seeing it.
I mean, I know that nothing compares to flowers. I just thought this would be so fun to paint. There is a traceable on our website for this. And you have the cherries?
I have a cherry from...
Okay, now this is our cherry picture. This was last week's video lesson on gingercooklive.gallery, and I really love this painting with that. Look at the purple in the tangerines, and you can really almost feel the peel on them. And this is a step-by-step video. And one of our subscribers, our members of gingercooklive.gallery, what she did, she was on vacation and did this on paper. It's really good. Do you have that, John?
I thought I did, but I'm not seeing it over here. I'm checking.
John's looking for it, but that's on Pinterest too. You check her out, you'll see it. She did it on paper.
There it is.
Here it is. John's
give me 1 second to slide it over.
It's on Pinterest.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's really cool what she did it on.
You have it? You want to show?
Yeah, it's coming up in 1 second here.
Okay, so this was the original. This is the lesson, you know, and this was like, again, you know, 9 by 12, right? So we don't. This would be gorgeous big, but it's 9 by 12, and then what did she do? Look at that. She did that on paper. Isn't that just gorgeous?
I wish you gave us
and
a little bit better.
What's her first name?
Natalie.
Natalie. I mean, I'm telling you what.
I like the colors she got on the wood and all.
I love it, and I love her cherries. I think they're just fantastic. She did a really good job on this painting. So these are fun. We get into quite a lot of detail on our website, and again, that comes with personal art coaching. I think that this almond branch would be big. If you did this 16 by 20 or larger, it probably would be a little easier to paint, quite frankly.
There's no traceable. There's nothing for this one.
You don't need to trace it. Honestly, you're just gonna.
You just wiggle.
You're just gonna kind of wiggle the dots. Just put
wiggle.
some dots where you think that the. Let me just show you real quick.
You got the black. Oh.
Well, the blackboard. Let's just take the chalkboard out, because if you're trying to, one of the things that's kind of helpful when you're trying to do something like this, and we're not tracing, but you can just do it. So you've got your picture, right? So you come in and you put a dot, and then maybe you measure and you put a dot here, and then you put a dot here, and you put a few dots, and then when you go to draw it in, see? So just do a few dots where you think you want your line, and then I promise you it gets really easy to draw it.
You just connect the dots.
And if you've got little kids, this is a great way. Everybody can connect the dots. If you're not sure, just say, okay, you can almost measure. You can take a picture like this and you can sort of measure. You're going to go, okay, so I'm going to go up, say 4 fingers, I'm going to put a dot there. And then I'm going to come over here about 3 fingers and I'm going to put a dot here. And then I'm going to put a couple of dots in between because I know I want it crooked. See? Use the dot method, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you'll get it pretty, you're going to say, okay, this came back here, it wide. And then I'm going to put a dot here, and then I'll connect the dots. Okay? That's what you want to do. That's how you're going to draw this in. You're going to do great. Hey, any more questions? And thank you very much for joining us tonight live. We're sorry we had such a crummy broadcast, but we have, as far as the feed
it's not
went,
us. I checked our speed. We're doing everything we can.
There's a storm here in town, and gosh, this goes around the world. Aren't you guys sort of impressed that so many people can see stuff like this? I mean, it is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, you think about it. Hey, Cheryl would like Ginger to paint a farm scene with moms and babies and cows and horses, pigs, ducks, chickens, sheep, goats. It's spring and babies are being born.
It is spring and babies are being born. Did you know that the San Diego Wild Animal Park, their biggest time of year is when all the babies are born?
I wonder why.
And because people just love going to see the baby animals.
Yeah.
That's the biggest time for the zoo. If you haven't checked your local zoo, go stop in. If you were having fun watching the giraffe, chances are your local zoo, who didn't have the budget for constant YouTube stuff, didn't have that budget. I promise you, they probably have, they probably have some baby animals that you'd find really cute to go look at and see. That's kind of a nice thing to do. Who doesn't love the local zoo?
Well, I was scrolling by. We had a question. Somebody wanted to know, have you ever painted? Caitlin would like to know, Ginger, do you ever paint on paper?
No, I don't paint on paper, can I? And here's the deal. You can, and here's what you do. If you want to paint on paper, what you want to do is take some medium and varnish the part you're going to paint. Kind of tape off a section, like this. Tape off a section of paper that you like, that you're going to use, and then varnish it, and let it dry, and then it'll be just like canvas.
And she would also like to know, are your gallery paintings always on canvas?
Yes, my gallery paintings are always on canvas. My gallery paintings are always on canvas. And, it sounds really hoity-toity. Like that? Hoity-toity?
I remember that one, yeah.
Remember hoity-toity?
Hoity-toity.
Hoity-toity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Patricia,
I'm going to say it sounds really hoity-toity to say acrylic on linen.
Oh yeah, that's the really.
I'm going to just bring this one out. I need another flower right here as I'm talking to you guys, right? Another little flower right
Another
there.
one just budded.
No, they bloomed. I mean,
they bloomed.
What was that song? June is breaking out all over.
Okay, we don't sing. This is not a singing channel.
You remember
folks.
that, right?
No.
No?
No. Patricia would like to know, why does acrylic paint sometimes smell bad?
Mine never does.
Mine doesn't either.
So, I mean, I would say take it back.
Yeah. I don't believe it's supposed to.
It's not supposed to. I got some. They had some paint that Jerry's had in one time, and it came from overseas. I think it came from somewhere in Europe, and it was very expensive paint, and the white smelled like rotten eggs. And then
I would say it was a bad mix.
Yeah.
And I think, Patricia, if you have paint that smells that bad, you need to take it back, because acrylic is not supposed to stink that bad.
It's pretty much odorless, kid.
Yeah.
Pretty much odorless, and that's where it is. And, yes, you can sign your name to a Vincent van Gogh piece because the copyright's gone out of it, and you're more than welcome to do that. And, and the question comes off all the time, is it okay if I sell the paintings that you guys have on your tutorials or on your website? As long as you're not making prints out of them, yeah, you sell them. I want you to sell them so you can afford art lessons and buy more canvas and paint. Enjoy the experience of having someone buy your stuff, absolutely. We appreciate it if you want to throw a little credit our way. That's, as far as what we do. And also we appreciate it if anybody, I don't know if this ever came up tonight because there wasn't very many people, but, we appreciate anytime anybody, donates to the cause when we're doing a live video, for instance, something like that. We appreciate it. But want you to sell your stuff, right? Absolutely.
Carol would like to know, how about painting on an easel, Ginger?
You know, I have all kinds of easels. I've got $5,000 easels sitting behind me. If you want to see something painted on an easel, go look at those shoes, the high heels with the blue jeans. We just find it's a little bit easier to conduct the lessons with the camera the way we're doing it now.
We mainly do that for the big wave and water.
Yeah, the wave and water gets the big easels, and when we can. But you know, it's just it's a hassle to film it that way.
Yeah.
So we have a tendency not to do it that way. That's all. Okay.
We have to go what's fairly easy for us to set up for YouTube.
And but I think you should have an easel. You don't have to do it flat. Nothing wrong with that. You have an easel, a little bit of light here somewhere. See, keep adding. So it's easy enough to add and subtract and do some more stuff to this. But I hope you guys had fun with this tonight. I really do. Hope that this was a fun thing to do. And any last questions before say good night? Want to thank everybody for joining us, and then we'll close it out.
If you haven't subscribed, please do so.
Yeah.
Share. Pass the word. We're trying to make a living at this, so we can quit our full-time jobs. So do what you can to help us get that way. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow night. It's going to be another exciting lesson, and we're going to be painting. We don't know, but you know it'll be good. Well, you have something in mind.
I have something in mind.
But see, you've had something in mind before,
and then I changed my mind. So I don't like to tell you, because sometimes right before I'll change my mind, and I thought this was I'm really glad we did this one. I think this was really fun. Yeah. This came out really well. And thank you guys.
And we like you guys for hanging in there.
All right. Have a good night. See you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
Bye.